What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of If We Only Knew. Today we're going to be talking about different types of line and when and why I use them. But before we get into that, I want to let you guys know tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, I will be in Duluth, Georgia with the beautiful Samantha Lee. We're going to be working the outdoor militia booths for the GON Outdoor Blast. So if you're in the area, make sure you swing by. If you're going to be there, be sure to come see me. I'd like to meet some of y'all. So to get the conversation started, there are 3 different types of line. You have monofilament, fluorocarbon, and braid. Braid is probably my most asked about line, but I'm going to start with monofilament just because that is the line that I learned how to fish on. That's the line I always used up until 3 years ago. So I haven't been using fluorocarbon or braid very long. I actually just started using braid like a year and a half ago, something like that. Monofilament. The pros to using monofilament line is it's very cheap. It's the cheapest of the 3. And it's actually pretty tough. You'd be surprised at how tough monofilament line is. The con, which to me is the worst con of the 3 lines, is it has so much stretch. That is the reason why I don't use monofilament hardly ever anymore. I run my monofilament only on my catfish rods, my striper rods, and my one spinning rod that I have. The reason being is I have my catfish and striper reels hold a lot of line, so it's a lot cheaper for me to run monofilament on them. I quit using it because for a couple years there, I was fishing out of nothing but a kayak, and I can't even remember or start to tell you guys how many fish I've lost because of all the stretch. If you guys have seen my fishing videos, when I cast, I sling that sucker out there. So when you're in a kayak and you're slinging a lure tied to monofilament, you know, 40 yards out there, and it sinks to the bottom, and let's say the fish takes it immediately, you gotta imagine how much stretch you get in that line when you go to set that hook. So I've lost a lot of fish that way, and that is the reason why I use fluorocarbon now. All my bait casters I run fluorocarbon on, and that's the next line we're going to talk about. Fluorocarbon's pros are it does not float, it has no stretch, but the con to the fluorocarbon, which is a con of all of them, but this particular line, fluorocarbon, it's very, very sensitive. So you can get nicks in it really easily, you know, rubbing against rocks, docks, you know, whatever, the side of your boat, get hung up in a tree. You have to check your line every time you get done. Even after you catch a fish, you need to check your line, especially a big one. You know, they got more sharper, like that grip or teeth. So you have to check your line because it will fray very, very easily. I lost a stud, as you guys know, earlier this year because I hung my crankbait up on a rope. I used a lure retriever, pulled my crankbait out, and like a rookie, I didn't check my line. Next cast, I had a stud take it. Shook it twice, broke my line just like that. So that's one of the cons. But it's worth it to me. I like it because I'm a crankbait angler. I will throw a crankbait from sun up till sundown. I just love throwing crankbaits. And because fluorocarbon doesn't float, it allows your crankbait to get down to its depth. So you have a crankbait that's supposed to run 8 to 10 foot, but you're running monofilament, it might run 6 to 8. But if you have fluorocarbon on there, you can just about promise yourself it'll get down there to its depth. So that's why I run fluorocarbon for all my crankbait rods. And then I run my fluorocarbon on everything else just because I sling my Texas rig out there and it's a lot easier for me to set the hook running fluorocarbon. I know I'll get that tension that I need. Between monofilament and fluorocarbon though, to me, it's all on how you fish, how you like to fish. Those are the two reasons why I don't use or use those two lines. If that helps you out, that's great. And I hope it does. Hopefully you better understand those two lines. Now, braid. This one I can't tell you, you should or you shouldn't use it because I'm not a braid angler, okay? I know a lot of guys, they swear by braid. They run braid on a lot of things. I only and specifically run my braid just on top water lures. The reason being, braid floats. Alright, so if you've never been able to walk the dog on like a spook or a gunfish, that's what I use. It's the same thing as a spook, it just costs a lot more. But if you've never been able to walk the dog on a walking top water bait, take you some braid, put it on a medium heavy rod, and I guarantee you will learn how to walk the dog quick, because that braid will allow that lure to stay floating, so the line's on top of the water, and when you snatch it, there's no stretching braid, so it'll allow it to get the walking motion like it's supposed to get. I take that back. I run braid on my jigs, my heavier lures that could possibly break my line on setting the hook. I run my braid, so I run it on my top water lures and my jigs. I just don't fish jigs a whole lot, so that's one of the reasons why I forgot about it. I just don't fish jigs a lot, and but I fish top water all the time, because here at Clarks Hill we have schooling bass. Our largemouth will school to compete with the schooling stripers, so we see them busting top water, we're slinging them gunfish. Alright, so there you have it. Monofilament, cheap, lot of stretch, I don't use it much. Fluorocarbon, no stretch, but very sensitive, alright, as far as getting nicks and fraying, so you have to check it, and it sinks so you can get a better depth on you can get a true depth on your crankbaits. For braid, I run it on my top waters. If I throw any top water, it's going to be tied on by braid, because braid floats. It allows you to get the true action out of walking baits, and run it on heavy jigs, so you don't have to worry about your line breaking when you go to set the hook in 20 foot of water, whatever. It can handle them heavy lures. Like I said, I hope this helps you understand the different types of fishing lines out there. It'll help you achieve your goal of catching your PB. I know, and I'm gonna give credit where credit is due. My buddy Tim Risner, he's the one that hooked me up with all the info on the braid. Because like I said, I never threw braid, but I could never walk the dog on a walking bait. He told me the same thing I'm telling you guys. Tie it to braid, throw it on a medium heavy rod. Once I started doing that, I don't throw it on nothing else. Hope to see you guys this weekend. Some of you guys at least. Don't forget, holla at me. I'll be in Duluth, Georgia at the Outdoor Militia booth for the GON Outdoor Blast. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Oh, one more thing. I'm really debating on doing more vlogging style videos, as far as, like, for example, last weekend I went to the lake. I was at the lake all weekend, and I wakeboarded for the first time. I normally don't take cameras with me on that kind of stuff, and I really enjoy, just taking a break, relaxing, doing that kind of stuff. but I ultimately enjoy creating videos. So I'm thinking about filming that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, the wakeboarding was an epic fail. I could never get up. I tried Jesus knows how many times, and my body sore as rip. But I'd like to start filming that kind of stuff, making videos, putting the content out there. Tell me if you guys would enjoy that kind of stuff. See y'all.